Welcome back, knitters. This is Jana with Purl Together. We're starting our Frog It or Finish It challenge tomorrow, and as part of that, some of you might be frogging some hibernating works in progress that you've discovered that maybe you're just not loving anymore, and that's totally fine. But what do you do with the yarn after you frog it? You know, you pull it all out and it's a little kinky and weird. You can reknit it just like that, or you can ReSkein it, relax all of those humps and bumps and kinks, and then it's much more enjoyable to knit with. Let me show you how I do that. I'm ripping out this mitt, and now I've got this, this puddle of yarn, and you can see how it's all kinky because wool has memory. So wool wants to retain its shape. Now, could I go ahead and knit with this? Yes, absolutely you could. You could wind this up just in a ball loosely. You don't want to stretch the yarn, but you could absolutely wind this up and you could knit with it. However, the reason I don't like knitting with yarn that has memory like this is because your gauge may be affected if you reknit it with different size needles. I think it affects the yarn. Some people might argue with that. I think it affects how the yarn wants to lay on your needle. So you can see that yarn wants to be a loop. So if I have a needle that's a different size than what this loop already is, the yarn may or may not lay flush against the needle when I rework the yarn. Besides that, it's just simply annoying to me. So I would rather ReSkein it, honestly. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this little ball that I started. I'm going to wind this yarn on my Swift. Let me show you. Okay, so while I'm pulling out the yarn from the project that I'm ripping out here, I'm just winding it on the Swift that I have. And you can see I'm putting it under a little bit of tension, but not too much. You can still see some of the kinkiness over there. I don't want it to be stretched at all. I just want it to hold its shape for right now. And I can't do this while I'm holding the camera at the same time. And today I don't have anybody to help me. So you get the idea though. You're just going to want to put it on your Swift. Now, if you don't have one of these Swifts that's turns or an umbrella style, you can simply turn a kitchen chair over and wrap it around the legs. You can wrap it around your thumb portion of your hand and around your elbow, but the tendency to do that is to wrap it too tight. So I would encourage you to use an upturned chair instead. Okay, so I finished ripping all that out, and let's say this has been a project that's been sitting around for quite some time, and I don't really have any idea how much yarn I had. I do know that I've measured the circumference of my Swift, and if the pegs are on the very outside slot, then that's 60 inches all the way around. So then all you need to do is count the strands, multiply by 60, so you have the number of total inches, and then divide that by 36 so that you have your yardage. So now what I'm going to do is go back over here, and I'm going to get a hold of this little tail, and I'm simply going to secure this. Let me show you how. Okay, all I'm going to do here is grab a hold of this on the back side, and I'm just going to tuck this under and do a little bit of a cinchy knot thing just to secure the end. I'm going to do that a couple of times so that I know that's the end. Then I can lift this off as a skein, and then the way that what I want to do to relax this waviness is to go and steam it. Okay, so I'm going to lift this off, or pull out these pegs, whichever works for you. Take it off your chair leg. That's another reason that you don't want to do anything too tightly on the chair leg, is because it makes it really hard to get it off if you do. Okay, so now I have my skein here, and I'm just holding it like this on each side, on each hand. So I've got my skein, and how I tied that up on that side, you could certainly do that with this end too, and I probably will. Okay, so now I've secured that. Both ends are secure, all right? And now I'm going to go and start the tea kettle. In the meantime, you can just twist it like this and then take both loops and put them on one hand just to hang on to it to carry it and not tangle it. Okay, once your tea kettle comes to a boil and you can see steam coming out, you're going to want to prop this open so it doesn't consistently whistle. And you want that steam because we're going to hold the yarn over it. We're going to hold the yarn over that, and it will relax the kink in the yarn. At least if your yarn is wool, that is true. Okay, as I mentioned, this works with wool. You can see the kink starting to relax at where the steam is hitting it. I don't know if you can tell that or not. See that one section right over the steam. So you just want to move this. Obviously, you don't want your yarn tail to hit the flame if you have a gas range like I do. So you just want to carefully steam see it relax? It's like magic. So you just want to go through and steam that. And yeah, it's going to make your yarn a little bit damp, but you can just hang it on a doorknob overnight and then you should be good to go. Now, if you don't have a tea kettle, I would just, boil a pot of water. I've not tried to use a, humidifier. I haven't tried to use anything that didn't have a little heat. I haven't tried to use cold steam to do this, so I cannot tell you about that. And then just move to a new section, being mindful of your tails, and do the whole thing this way. Okay, from here, it's ready to go. You can either wind this into a cake or just simply store it again as a skein. Make sure that if you don't have the yarn label anymore, that you get a string tag or a piece of paper or whatever, and write down what this is and how many yards it is. I hope you found that video helpful. Hit the thumbs up button if you did, and be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell notification so you don't miss any future uploads. Join us over in the Ravelry and Facebook groups. The links are down below. Thanks for watching.